Hey everyone, Mike Shanklin here from the Peace, Freedom, Prosperity Movement, voluntaryvirtues.com. Glad you guys could join us again today. I know I'm wearing a shirt that says United States. I can see it over here. But I do want to point out it says bankrupt right there, so reserve system. So I hope more people actually think about that. If not, check out usdebtclock.org. I think that's a great plug. I'll even put it in the description section below. Anyway, back to what I was originally making the video for. I wanted to talk to people, especially those who have a problem with the word anarchy. You know, they've been conditioned one way into thinking about the word anarchy. And I kind of wanted to, I guess we could kick this off by just asking a simple question. And that is, what if tomorrow the government just came into your life even more than right now and started making more personal decisions for you? Actually almost took over your whole life. They started choosing which house you live in. And then they chose which car you can drive. They even choose which TV you can watch and purchase and live with. They start choosing which foods you can eat or drink. They take over your entire schedule. Would I be that crazy if I simply tried to reject that ideal? If I tried to fight for your individual right to choose your own life? Would I really be that crazy of a person, right? It's kind of ironic, because in some cases we're actually standing up for food anarchy, right? TV anarchy, you know, it might be independently a niche or an offset, a branch of this. But I think it's kind of important to attack it from that angle. Because you do, obviously, at this point, after what we've just talked about, you believe in TV anarchy. Just letting you know. You believe in lots of different types of anarchy. You just didn't even know it. The thing is, humanity hasn't quite taken this to its rational conclusion. They haven't taken this principle of allowing people to do whatever they want to do as long as they don't infringe on others. They haven't taken that to its rational conclusion. A majority of humans. And it's kind of ironic. If you think I have the right to choose my own foods, I have the right to choose my own spouse, I have the right to choose my own TV set or my own car, the house I live in, or when I breathe, or what I do with my own personal schedule, why is it then that you won't allow me to have my right on which protection services to employ or to patronize? Why is it I'm not allowed to choose my own protection services? Let's be realistic. In this world we live in today of statism, I have relatively no choice. Literally, I have almost no choice in what goes on in this system, in this regional gang. That's really what it is. It's like a regional mafia. And this regional mafia has little accountability, if any at all. In fact, it's almost impossible to put out of business. Think about that. And hardly ever have they gone out of business. They might just change employers, but it's not like you have a corrupt business pyramid scheme blow up and it has to end sometime, right? Well, that's not how it happens in statism. The Ponzi scheme just continues to go and it drains the rest of us. Because there's nothing to stop it. It's got a monopoly. And it's not like I can just call up one of the competitively yet voluntarily funded dispute resolution organizations or multi-tiered arbitrators or any other type of competing law structure out there. I can't just call up my protection service of my choice and choose what type of protection services I employ or I get. And it's kind of ironic, too, because with these DRO agencies, they would completely eradicate victimless crimes. That's one thing I think we need to point out right off the bat. They would also have to compete for best restitution rates. Not only that, lowest price and greatest value, just like always in a free society of trade and barter. So they'd have to compete for not only those two basic tenets, price and quality, but also for best restitution rates. They'd have to battle for infringing on the least amount of people. There'd be a lot more consumer reports, and they wouldn't be as biased as they are today, especially ones that get subsidized, ironic enough. Enough individuals could choose and make their own best decisions on which one would do it. And I truly believe it would be much better than having some anti-choice, pro-force funded system that like we live in today. And it's kind of ironic because what happens in this regional gang if I just don't support it? Never infringe on anybody else. I just don't want to support this system and what it's doing and tasering people and all this stuff. You can go on for a long list of stuff that you have a problem with, obviously. But the state is basically nothing but a violent monopoly. We have to be rational. We have to be realistic. We have to approach this from a factual perspective. So if we don't do that, we're only shooting ourselves in the foot before we go run this big marathon called life. But it's basically a slave system, because if you don't do it, they'll kick in your door. They will put you in jail, and they'll confiscate your property. It's a version of slavery. It's not like chain slavery. I'm not saying anything like that. It is a form of slavery, though. That is a fact. There's various forms of slavery. Chain slavery is one of them. There's also various other ones, such as statism slavery, which encompasses all this, like fascism, socialism, statism. That's all under one camp, really. All of that is subsectors of different forms of statism. So once you kind of see it from that perspective, it kind of opens up your eyes to the rest of the society that we live around. But it is uncivilized. It's not civilized behavior at all. That's not how, when people think of the future and the future of civilization, you don't always have to, that's not one of the first things that pop in your head. You think actually more about peaceful interactions. That's what I think most people think of when they think of a better future. Maybe. I don't know. Some people have the rapture in their head forever, and then they'll never get that out. But it's uncivilized behavior, even if generations before us were convinced otherwise, and believe it. It doesn't make it so. If the generations before you say so, it doesn't make it so. It doesn't make it ethical. It doesn't make it right. And it's so funny, because most of our lives, every day, are lived in this some form of anarchy, right? I mean, let's be realistic. You don't hit people usually. You don't steal from people. You don't go behind their back and try and fraud them. Most people don't. I don't. I don't know about all of you. Maybe you have another ethical dilemma outside of statism that you have to tackle still. But it's not like you're going around stealing and hitting and harming other people, robbing them, raping them, murdering them. Most of us don't do that. Most of us really just don't do that stuff. And that, right there, is basically like admitting, outside of politics at least, that 99.999% of your life is based around voluntary interactions. It really is. It's based around the ideal of anarchy. Ironically enough as it is. You don't have to lobby to go get things done. You don't have to go out and rally to get things done. You don't have to lobby anywhere, inefficiently, I might add. If the project even gets done at all in statism. But anarchy is simply free choice. That's all anarchy is. Anarchy is free choice. It's the eradication of systems that impose aggressive coercion on peaceful people, peaceful individuals who just simply disagree, who have never infringed on another person. That's all anarchy is. It is real freedom. And it's funny how the state can condition so many people into believing that choice is chaos, that anarchy is a version of chaos, when really it's just the opposite. When in the truth of it, it's the state that is chaos.